Hi there, today we're dealing with this card, turn and face anything you are avoiding. Um, when people get this card, there's normally a roll of the eyes or a sigh or something that comes out because it's a tough card in terms of what is it that you're avoiding facing. And when we have a look at it, we can see that it's part of the seed of life suit, and that really is about a sort of checking in with all the parts of our lives and having a look at what is it that needs to come more into balance, what is it that needs to come into harmony. And so when we avoid stuff, when we don't face it, when we don't deal with stuff, when we don't handle things, we tend to have something go out of balance, something go out of whack in our lives, and this causes us to feel sluggish or to stagnate or to not have the impetus or the focus that we need to. And so when we look at this card, we need to first understand what avoidance is. And avoidance is not always consciously avoiding it. There may be something going on in our world that we almost don't want to see or don't want to look at. In the intellectual realms, there's a concept called the Johari window, and the Johari window is that which is out of sight, that which we are not aware of. So we haven't even seen that there's something to be faced. And this is the benefit of perspective that comes from friends or healers or coaches or therapists or anybody who points something out to you. And so when somebody points something out to you, it's useful to give it a moment's attention before you disregard it, especially if it seems to be something that many people are bringing into your awareness. I see this often with many clients. The guides come forward and they bring into perspective something that they want, that the person needs to see. And the initial instinct, the response is, that's not true. Yeah. And there's a moment of taking time to notice what is that instinct to say that's not true is about. And it's a protective instinct most of the time, because the thing that is being pointed out to you may be something you don't know what to do with. And most of us don't like feeling unresourceful, and so when that happens, we'd rather just ignore it or block it out. The other kind of avoidance is where we know there's something and we are distracting ourselves from dealing with it or facing it or talking about it or honoring it. I joke a lot about this. If you walked into my room and you said to me, I don't want to talk about money, or I don't want to talk about my relationship, or I don't want to talk about work, guess what we're going to be talking about? Because that is the thing that is needing to be faced in some way, shape, or form. And so we've got these two kinds of things that we're avoiding: that which is unknown and that which is consciously being chosen to be ignored. And why do we do it? It's a matter of self-preservation in many ways, of trying to keep ourselves resourceful in our life. And so the underlying guidance that comes through around this is that to be able to embrace that which you're avoiding, it really requires us to activate the courage to know that you can deal with whatever you need to deal with, that it is possible to face it. And often once you've faced it, it almost just, it gets smaller, it gets simpler somehow, because it's anything that is paid attention to gets healed by itself. It's the most amazing principle in healing, is that 90% of healing is looking at something, just noticing it. Once you can see it without judgment, then you can know what it is about. And once you know what it's about, the actions can come, the steps can be taken. And so it actually is quite a soothing process when we turn and face what we're avoiding. And it actually brings integration in place. It pulls us back to ourselves and brings a level of harmony. And so the initial response is one of deep resistance, but the minute we look at it, it almost just calms down. And so this is a really important aspect of joy and of peace and of ensuring that you're living a life where you feel aligned to what it is that you're wanting to do. Is anything that you're not paying attention to starts to create a drag. And so we need to bring it in. The other way that I've seen this manifest itself for many, many of my clients is it's the thing that we talk about we need to let go of. I just need to let this go. I just need to stop talking about it. I just need to not do this. And in that energy of doing that, you can't let go of things. If we think about it quite logically, it's impossible to let go of something. Every time we're saying to ourselves, I must let it go, it's there. It needs to be dealt with, faced, and integrated. The healing of this card is integration, pulling things together. And when we are integrated, we are in flow. And when we are in flow, things start to manifest and we're able to move forward. So the exercise I'd offer you today is to look at this from a number of perspectives. What are the things in your life you do not want to deal with? Just take a moment and become aware of, if something comes up, you have this tendency to say, I don't have time now, I don't want to deal with it, another day. And just notice those things. And then the other thing is, ask someone, what is it that you think would be useful for me to face that I'm not facing yet? Now, when you ask the person this, be very selective who you ask. Make sure you're asking somebody who has your best intentions at heart, somebody who knows you well enough, somebody who can lovingly point out, something I've seen in you is this, and you don't seem to want to face it. And you can take that in your own stride and take that in your own time, because without fail, sometimes we're also not ready to see. And sometimes that's also okay, because you're busy dealing with what it is you need to deal with. So sending you lots of love as you integrate all that is important for you in this path. Namaste.
Get your very own deck of I Am Lightwalker cards straight from Taryn by visiting iamlightwalker.com/cards.